So, what kind of reputation do you have? Would someone recommend you for a job or for a ministry position? Well, today we're going to talk about those very things. Hey, I'm Shauna, and I'm with Gollyhue Family Discipleship. I'm a licensed minister with the Church of God, and my husband and I, actually our whole family, takes to social media, and we just try to disciple people like we do discipleship in our home. So we're going to be discussing 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verses 1 through 3. And the Apostle Paul is actually addressing the Corinthian church here, and he is asking them, okay, so am I going to have to send a recommendation letter before I come to visit you? Am I going to have to send some references so that you will be satisfied with who I am? Actually, he says to him, look, you are my recommendation letter. You know who I am. I've been there. Your church was founded because I came and brought the gospel, the truth of the glorious gospel of Jesus Christ to you. I shouldn't need a reference letter. I shouldn't need a recommendation letter because you know who I am and you know what I preach. You see, when we go and have a job interview or we send in our resume to a job or an application, most of the time we're going to have a recommendation letter. Most of the time we're going to have to get someone that we've previously worked for, or someone who's been our supervisor in ministry, someone who has been a teacher or professor, and they're going to have to give an account of what kind of reputation, what kind of worker, what kind of attitude, what kind of atmosphere we help set. So we've got to be diligent in setting an atmosphere, in leaving a reputation that is honorable, one that is hard work, one that's faithful to the truth. And it's not always the easiest because people do have their opinions, and there are people that we can work with. We could even work with people in ministry and they will try to destroy our reputation. It's a sad truth, but it's a truth. But if we stay faithful, the truth always comes out. You know, I've heard people say that the truth will stand when the world's on fire. And it's very true. I know I'm keep throwing that true word around, but it's very true. You know, if you are a hard worker, if you stay faithful to the truth, if you're kind and loving, if you pursue excellence, it will always come through. It will come through nasty words. It will come through people trying to tear you down, because that's exactly what was happening with the Apostle Paul and his ministry partners. There were people that were coming in and trying to destroy what they had built up. They were trying to take what the Apostle Paul had built on, which is the rock solid foundation of the gospel, and they were trying to deceive the Corinthian church, and letting them be led astray. So the Apostle Paul was trying to get the Corinthian church to understand, look, you know who I am. You know, I came around and I gave you absolutely everything that I had. You know, we find out in the previous letter even that the Apostle Paul says, look, you know, I didn't take off of anyone. I worked while I was there. I earned my keep. I didn't ask more of you than I would ask of anybody. Actually, I asked less of you. But the important thing for him was that they knew God, and that they knew the truth, and that they stood firm to the end, and that salvation came to them and to their homes. And you know, corruption can be everywhere. We are not immune to it, even in ministry. So the important thing is to continue on to do what you're called to do, to continue on to do what you're hired on to do, continue on to be who you know you should be. You want to be proud of yourself, and you want God to be proud of you. When I was growing up, one of the things that my mom always said was, Shauna, always leave a place better than you arrived. Whether that was somewhere where we may have had a birthday party, it was going to be cleaner when we left. You know, if it was an atmosphere that of where I had to go into a bunch of strangers that I did not know, I wanted to make sure that I set an atmosphere and I had an attitude that made people better, that made people happier, that filled the room with joy, and that was better because I was there. So that's what we need to do. Okay, Jeremiah. Parenting calls. So as we close today, I just want to remind you, wherever you go, whether it's a workplace, whether it's ministry, whether it's a birthday party, whatever it is, make sure that you leave there and that place is better because you were there. So I want to remind you also to live intentionally for Christ, encounter God, exalt God, edify yourself, and engage the world. Let others know about the goodness of God, and they'll never forget that love. So until next time, God bless you.